The movie opens with a scene of Janet, who is imprisoned in the quantum realm in the distant past. She encounters some unusual beasts there that are undoubtedly unheard of in our world. Thankfully, someone quickly intervened and saved Janet as she was about to be overpowered by several of these monsters. Afterwards, the action shifts to the present, when Scott Lang is a well-liked member of society after joining the Avengers. Scott was able to show the world that, despite his past as a criminal, he was in reality a wonderful person. He is currently living a happy life with Hope and his new family. Van Dyne, Hope carried on his father's example. She founded a very well-known business and gave it the name Pim Van Dyne Foundation. One day, Scott received a call from the police while he was at an event. They stated that Cassie, Scott's oldest daughter, had been detained after getting into trouble by shrinking the police vehicle. Scott and Hope then take Cassie to Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne as a result of this occurrence. There, following their meal together, Cassie begins showcasing the new device she and Hank had made in secret. A tool that can link them to the quantum realm is the invention. Thus, all they need to do to explore there is send drones. Due to the fact that Cassie frequently transmits signals to the world of the atoms, Janet abruptly turned the device off while stating that the quantum realm was a place that was much more dangerous than this one because Cassie had just sent a signal there. She then instructed Cassie to stop using the device, but, when they were disputing and asking Janet for an explanation, the device unexpectedly turned on by itself once more, which is when this incredible incident occurred. Everyone and everything in the room must enter the quantum realm. Also, were divided into two groups as a result of where they fell. Whatever transpired, when a plane flew above them, Janet abruptly ordered them to hide. Scott and Cassie are currently perplexed by everything in the quantum realm. Even a being that resembled the sun tried to assault them. Fortunately, as they were about to panic, a local creature suddenly materialized and saved them both. The strange speaking monster, however, ended up bringing Scott and Cassie to its stronghold. The locals there compelled the two of them to consume a red liquid. The beverage is not a poison, but it is what makes it possible for them to understand every language spoken in this world and interact with one another. One of the animals, Quaz, has the ability to read Scott's mind with just a quick glance, which astounded Scott greatly. The leader of their tribe, Gentora, finally requested Scott and Cassie to leave after a lengthy discussion about why humans have 7 holes in their bodies. She said that there is a character known as the Conqueror in the quantum realm. Also, the Conqueror enjoys looking for living things from other lives, such as Scott and Cassie, who are from above. The Conqueror colonized Gentora and the others from their home world. Scott and Cassie were welcome to stay in Gentora's base, but Gentora didn't want to take the chance that the Conqueror would contact her. People, the quantum realm is extremely perilous, so Janet instead helps her family locate Scott and Cassie. Shortly later, though, they were confronted by a collection of strange-shaped monsters from the quantum realm. The creature was shown to have been Janet's buddy in the past, while she was imprisoned there, despite estimates that Janet engaged in an epic battle with them. Later, to make it simpler for them to locate Scott and Cassie, Janet and her family at last secured a ride. Hank and Hope were also handed a drink by Janet when they arrived at a location that may be described as a bar in the quantum realm, which right away made they were able to comprehend what the creatures in the quantum realm were saying. Janet traveled there in order to meet Lord Kriller, her dearest friend, whom she had not seen in a while. There, Janet asks Kriller for assistance in finding Scott and Cassie, whom she believed to be lost in the quantum realm. Regrettably, Kriller, who was formerly Janet's single close friend and a person who dared to oppose the Conqueror, now supports the Conqueror. When Janet came back to Earth, he bowed to him in order to gain his respect. Instead of assisting Janet, Kriller informed the Conqueror of her arrival and then gave the order for his men to arrest Janet's family. After victory over a portion of Kriller's forces, they then made the decision to flee and search for Scott and Cassie. The action then shifts to Scott and Gentora's army once more, who are attacked right away by the Conqueror's warriors. Scott initially simply intended to flee in order to save his daughter. When Cassie saw Gentora's entourage surrounded by the Conqueror's soldiers, her heart, however, said differently. Whether you like it or not, Scott also got in on the action. They were startled by Darren's sudden appearance and drastically altered facial expression. In the 2015 Ant-Man movie, Darren vanished, forcing him into the quantum realm. The Conqueror, who was subsequently restored and given the name M.O.D.O.K., found Darren's body. Janet began recounting tales about who is the Conqueror aboard the ship, hence, the Conqueror is Kang, who at the beginning of the movie succeeds in rescuing Janet. As a result, once Kang the Conqueror was able to save Janet from the previous monster, she gave back by defending him. Because Kang the Conqueror is in the midst of a crash and is currently dying. After some time had passed and they were left alone in the quantum realm, Janet and Kang the Conqueror started to collaborate on reviving Kang's spacecraft. Janet had been told by Kang the Conqueror that his ship could travel anywhere and investigate any universe, and if it is mended, Janet can travel wherever she wants on the ship. As a result, they do their best so that their efforts are ultimately successful. Together, Janet and Kang the Conqueror succeeded in producing an energy core that allowed Kang's ship to restart. However, Janet had already touched the ship's core when she suddenly saw a shadow showing Kang's sinister behavior. In actuality, Kang the Conqueror is a person of overwhelming power who utilizes it to colonize, massacre, and even destroy any location he encounters. Therefore, as he prepared to lead Janet back to Earth while escorting her, Janet dissuaded Kang's plan right away because she was worried about the terrible catastrophe that may occur if he escaped the quantum realm. This catastrophe may have never occurred on Earth before. Due to this occurrence, Janet quickly went back in costume to get Kang's ship energy core, which they had already fixed, the conviction that she will fail. Janet then uses a blue chip to expand the energy core of the ship against Kang. Janet believed that everything was finished once she had successfully destroyed the energy core. However, it turns out that Kang actually built a massive and unstoppable creature in the quantum realm, Empire, as his power stemmed from the disguise he acquired when he took up residence on his spacecraft. Returning to Scott and Cassie, they are currently detained in Kang's country. There, Scott finally got to meet Kang the Conqueror face to face. He begs Scott to bring the ship's energy core back, and he threatens to kill Cassie if Scott doesn't carry out his instructions. Scott quickly complies with the instructions and will take the core energy because he is a good parent who is willing to make sacrifices for his child. The energy core must be returned to its original state, and Scott's only task is to go there. Yet, Scott had to move quickly because things would get worse the longer he stayed in there. Scott was perplexed when, after shrinking and succeeding in entering the energy core, his body suddenly split into numerous pieces. Scott realized the potential in himself there, because there is a probability of a storm if it is close to the multiverse engine's center. So, every decision or action Scott might take will be here and clearly visible to him. Their contradictory thoughts cause Scott's self-image to riot. On the other hand, Janet and the others have finally reached the ship's energy core after traveling for a considerable amount of time. There, Hope made the decision to take part in the energy core right away after learning of Scott's presence. Thankfully, when Scott noticed that his illusionary shadows were causing riots and that his daughter was being held captive by Kang the Conqueror, he knew that his daughter was in danger. The other shadows can then be inspired by Scott's motivation and band together to support Scott in capturing the core energy, as soon as it appeared like Scott wouldn't make it.
Hope appeared and instantly accompanied him to the ship's energy core. Unfortunately, Scott was still very concerned about his daughter's condition and resisted giving up the energy core. When they eventually reunited and managed to obtain it, with Janet, up to then, it landed in front of them and captured the energy core right away. Hank, who was waiting for them aboard the ship, was taken aback by Darren's appearance and attacked him right once. Sadly, Kang was too strong, and despite their combined strength, Kang the Conqueror needed nothing from them. Hank Pym was also vanquished by M.O.D.O.K., while Kang was successful in bringing Janet to his realm. Yet, the shadow of a large Janet is visible to us from above. Janet, on the other hand, was pulled into Kang's empire. Kang inquires about what Janet witnessed after touching the energy core there. Janet said that she had witnessed a monster behave divinely. The multiverse could end at any time in the future, Kang claims.
Therefore he is only attempting to murder himself or a version of himself that lives in another multiverse. Janet, however, claims that it is equivalent to Kang having murdered innumerable innocent humans in the other multiverses, but Kang persisted because he wanted to stop time. Hank runs across Scott and Hope outside, who have just recovered from their fainting spells. Hank is not by himself there. Instead, he is with his shrewd pet ants. It appears out that time dilation, which occurred thousands of years ago, caused the ants to enter the same quantum hole yet exit at a separate time. They eventually changed and sought to speak to Hank through the earpiece. Hank's ant civilization was highly developed at this point. The development and evolution of these ants allowed them to sustain civilizations for thousands of years. Yet, where they were at the moment, the ants had actually just gone through one day. Cassie, who was being sent to prison, however, managed to escape and please save Gentora right now. They quickly called Gentora's troops, who were waiting outside Kang's headquarters. After successfully liberating Gentora from custody, now, Gentora and her forces inside will make every effort to exterminate Kang's soldiers, while Cassie engages MODOK in a one-on-one battle. On the other hand, we once more see Kang the Conqueror beginning to get ready to leave the quantum realm aboard his ship. On the outside, Scott starts to transform into a gigantic and to command the local beasts to attack Kang's base. Gentora, meantime, invites her troops to retake their positions as she eventually joins with all of her troops. After that, they start a conflict with Kang the Conqueror. Following the triumphant defeat of MODOK, Cassie counsels MODOK to transform into a better person, like the Avengers, as a result of growing to be a gigantic. Scott and Hope, realizing that Kang's ship is about to take off, come together at last to stop Kang's escape strategy. The entire thing that Scott and the others have done disgusts Kang the Conqueror. Ultimately, Kang the Conqueror intervened and engaged them all in combat. The superhero family promptly moved to face Kang the Conqueror after realizing that the local creatures couldn't stand a chance against his strength. The three superheroes were still unable to defeat Kang the Conqueror when Hank Pym, an elderly man with combat ants, came. With the aid of Hank's incredibly potent ant abilities and the selfless sacrifice of MODOK, Kang the Conqueror was ultimately brought down. With his final words to MODOK, he said that at least he had improved. That instant, Janet notified them all right away that she had been successful in building a portal back to Earth. Kang the Conqueror unexpectedly reappeared after everyone but Scott had returned, leading to an inevitable altercation between them. Thankfully, Hope arrived just in time to assist Scott in fighting Kang when he was severely trapped. Kang the Conqueror was undoubtedly doomed in the end. After that, they both came back to Earth. Now that Scott is back on Earth, he and his superhero family are once again leading relatively normal and content lives. Scott, however, still finds himself reflecting on Kang's warning that if he doesn't leave, the multiverse will be messed up by his other self, but he makes an effort to maintain having fun and avoid obsessing over future events. After that, 3 of Kang's twins, Rama Tut, Immortus, and the unidentified third, are displayed to us in the credits scene. Nonetheless, there are many rumors that the name is futuristic. Please feel free to share the name in the comments section if you know it, but in essence, they were discussing punishing and banishing Kang. Kang the Conqueror, who is currently in the quantum realm and is close to death. Kang, therefore, is not truly certain. Who Scott battled is now deceased. Additionally, the 3 of them are now inviting all Kangs from various multiverses and timelines to the gathering that these 3 Kang leaders are hosting. Then, in the second credit scene, Loki and Mobius appear to be watching Kang as she describes the time machine there. Finally, the film comes to an end. If you like this story, please subscribe to the channel and like it, to motivate me to bring you more stories like this.